This is probably going to be my most scripted video that I make. I just have a lot of things that I want to cover and I don't want to forget anything, so I made some note cards. I am doing this for therapy for myself and to let people know who have similar or some of the same issues that I have that they're not alone and they are not crazy. Because I have felt that way many times throughout the years that I was alone and I was going crazy because I couldn't get the doctors to listen to me. I am not a doctor. I have no medical degree at all. And what works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And what didn't work for me doesn't mean it's not going to work for you if you have something that I do have. Just be knowledgeable, educate yourself, and ask questions to your doctor. They are there to answer your questions. I am planning on making these videos once a week. Well, posting them anyways. I'm going to be doing little snippets throughout my day, and every once in a while you might get a bonus video if I'm having a really good day, maybe a really bad day, or even just a day. This vlog is I have a laundry list, or at least it feels like a laundry list of issues all compiled into one, and I just needed a place where I can speak my mind and get some feedback. I know not everybody's going to like what I have to say, and that's fine. This is my story, my experiences, my life. I have been a diabetic since I was 8 years old. It will be 22 years this December that I have had type 1 diabetes. I am currently on an insulin pump. I haven't always taken care of myself. I've rebelled against it really bad. I was at one point with an A1C of 18. Right now, my A1C is 7.6. I have a goal to get it down to 7.0. I also, about 10 years ago, was diagnosed with fibromyalgia with the misfiring and overactive nerves. And I have been re-diagnosed again and again and again with that throughout the past 10 years. I got really sick in July of 2012, where if I wasn't at work, I was stuck in bed. I had to stop working in August of 2012 to focus on my health and figure out what was going on because the doctors couldn't figure it out. I needed help in and out of bed. I couldn't cook. I couldn't get dressed. I couldn't do pretty much anything by myself. I'm very lucky to have the man in my life that I do who has helped me through all of this and has never once questioned me. In October of 2012, I was diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy, and now I have damaged nerves on top of overactive nerves. I now have damaged nerves. I also, on that same day, during that same appointment, was diagnosed with diabetic amyotrophy. Now, diabetic amyotrophy is weakness followed by wasting of pelvifemoral muscles, either unilaterally or bilaterally, with associated pain. I had to look up the direct meaning of it because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I usually tell people it's just muscle weakness and deterioration of the muscles in the legs. But that was the actual definition of diabetic amyotrophy. Now, with diabetic amyotrophy, it affects less than 1% of diabetics. And of those less than 1%, it's type 2 diabetics that are male in their 50s. I'm type 1, I'm female, and I'm not even 30 yet. I should play the lottery. I got the diagnosis of peripheral neuropathy and diabetic amyotrophy. I had a lot of MRIs done. I had contrast MRIs done as well as x-rays, and they couldn't figure it out. I ended up changing clinics And this new doctor sent me to see a pain specialist. And the pain specialist pulls up my MRI that is now a year old and tells me I have mild degenerative disc disease and my L5 disc is bulging. He orders a new MRI because he wants to make sure that the L5 is not herniated, which thankfully it wasn't and isn't, but it is bulging worse than it was. And I have my L4 disc bulging as well. It also confirmed that I have mild degenerative disc disease. But according to the doctor you talked to, could just be normal wear and tear on your back. I don't understand why you're telling me I have a disease if it's normal wear and tear on my back. I don't need another disease added to my list of issues. I just don't. So if it's normal wear and tear on my back, then why do you tell me I have mild degenerative disc disease? Doesn't make sense to me. I'm trying to find a medication or mixture of medications that work for me, and I end up with diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy is something that diabetics tend to get, especially once you've had diabetes for 5 years. It is where your eyes, for unknown reasons, create extra blood vessels that aren't needed. And the treatment is laser. Well, for me, how I found out was that those extra blood vessels burst. So I had a hemorrhage in my left eye when I found out, to the point where I couldn't see a hand in front of my face. I could kind of make out the color of it, but I couldn't make out the shape. I couldn't do anything. And so I was visiting the retina specialist very often, first name basis with the nurses. And sometimes the blood wouldn't settle the way they needed to because I've had multiple hemorrhages now, not just in my left eye, but in my right eye as well. And I had to have a shot, an Avastin shot. It's not as crazy as it sounds. I was terrified. And I made it through, and I have since done it without anxiety medications multiple times. They failed to tell me in the beginning, if you ever need an Avastin shot, you don't see the needle coming at you. That was my biggest fear, was I have to keep my eyeball still, yet I have to watch this needle come towards my eye. No, you don't see it. The worst you feel is maybe a little bit pressure when they put it in and kind of dry eye afterwards. My problem is the laser. That thing needs to be an illegal torture device from the medieval century and just banned. Just banned. They need to come up with another way of doing it because I can't handle it. I really can't. Just this last Friday, a week ago now, I went and saw a nephrologist that is a kidney specialist, and I was informed that I am in stage 2 chronic kidney disease. I still have normal BUN and creatinine levels for functioning my kidney, but I am 2 points away from what they would consider a stage 3. My level that they use, I don't remember what it's called, is at 61, and they consider, when it gets down to 59, they consider that stage 3. They don't know what exactly caused it. Like I've said, I've been a diabetic for 22 years, and diabetes can cause chronic kidney disease by itself. When I was younger, I had chronic kidney infections and chronic bladder infections. I have had multiple kidney stones to the point where one of them was 16 millimeters. There's like 25 millimeters in an inch. And they start worrying about them at 4 millimeters. And it blocked the passage of urine. I had a festering kidney infection. It It was bad. And I had kidney reflux when I was younger. If you don't know what that is where the kidneys will pass the urine through towards the bladder, but the bladder, for whatever reasons, sends it right back up into your kidneys. I had to have surgery to fix that. So, yeah, I've had a lot of damage done to my kidneys, and they can't pinpoint what exactly caused the problem at this point. I know my right kidney functions at 39% and my left kidney functions at 64. So that's something to really process still. I'm still processing that one. The following Monday night, I ended up having a sleep study done, followed by a nap study the next day. And 2 weeks prior, I had to wear this motion sensor watch that was really, really annoying. Studies with the motion watch, the sleep study, and the nap study, they have narrowed down my feeling of exhaustion to one of two problems. I either have fragmented sleep patterns for unknown reasons, or I have a form of narcolepsy. They told me that because of going into REM sleep during 3 of my 5 nap studies, that's a sign of narcolepsy. But yet, with how often my body will wake itself up throughout the night, which is over 100 times without reason, add 40 more times because of my own leg movements, that it doesn't necessarily point towards narcolepsy. That points more towards the fragmented sleep patterns. Had I just woken up randomly during REM sleep, that would have been more for narcolepsy. So right now I'm being treated with a new medication for the fragmented sleep for the next 4 weeks to see how that goes. And if it does not help, then I have narcolepsy. I'm not even sure which one is better or which one is worse to have. Throughout all this, I also have chronic hives. I was going to a clinic previous to the one I currently go to, and I would have hives, which would have hives, that would have hives. And they sent me to an allergy specialist, but failed to tell me that some of the medications that I was on I couldn't take. So I get up there, and they can't do the skin testing, but they can do blood testing. It didn't make sense to me, but whatever. And everything for the normal allergies came back negative. I don't know if I had a false negative or what. So actually coming up this week, I do have a allergy appointment with a new allergy specialist, and I am hoping that I will get some answers, because to find out what I'm allergic to would be really nice so I could just stay away from it instead of having to carry around Benadryl. And I'll always probably have to carry the EpiPen just because of how bad that they did get. I also have lymphedema. Lymphedema is just random swelling, and mine get really bad. I actually have to have LASIK on hand to help with the water retention, and I have to be careful with how much I can take it because it can damage your kidneys. And so I try my hardest to keep the lymphedema under control to where I don't have to take it. And I can't take the LASIK regularly because of the chronic kidney disease. That's just kind of my info. Like I said, I have a laundry list of issues that I deal with every day. And some of you might be able to relate because there's illnesses out there that are very similar to what I have. And others of you can relate because I have some of the issues that you have. You have some of the issues that I have. And I would love to hear from you all. I am on Twitter as well as on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Poisoned1MI. Same for Facebook. I hope you guys will continue to watch my videos. Thanks. Bye.